So this week on the stereo image, we have the incredibly talented Sarah Lowe, Hollywood royalty. Um, that's where I'm billing you. Uh,
Okay.
incredible dancer, singer, performer, Broadway type, all that kind of stuff. Television. There's nothing she can't do, except be on a podcast. Um, no, she's. Thank you so
You're
much for coming on. It's so great to have you here.
you're so flattering, Jonesy. Thank you. It's great to be here, and I'm really just a perpetrator. I faked my way pretty well, so happy to be here.
Good, good. Well, most people fall for it. Um, and so I wanted to start out right away. Well, what are you up to right now?
Well, I still currently work for Spiegelworld. I am
Mhm.
a performer at their show Absinthe, their
Right.
kind of flagship show here on the Las Vegas Strip. And that is my full-time job. I've been
Mhm.
there for going on 4 years now, so that's very
Wow.
exciting.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I recently was the interim resident director for the disco show, and we closed that. But that was a really wild ride and a lot of fun, and cut my teeth kind of in the Spiegelworld resident directing world. And now I am resident directing their other show, The Party, which is at the
Yes.
Cosmopolitan,
Uh-huh.
which is Spiegelworld's take on dinner and a show. So it is a party. It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. There's dinner is involved, and it's absolutely delicious. It comes from the restaurant Super Frico, which is right next door.
Right.
And then we have one weekend left of Showgirls, the musical parody that was playing at the Majestic Theater that I choreographed. So
Wow.
that's finishing up. Yeah.
And
Oh, let me not forget. I'm also helping run the drama club at my son's elementary school, which we're doing Moana this year. So that really should have been the headline.
oh, sure. Yeah. Well, it seems like you've got lots of spare time. This is, and I appreciate you taking an hour out today to chat with us. But uh, back up just a second now. The one that has dinner. What's the name of that
Yes.
show?
It's called The Party.
I went there.
You
We
did?
went there for, Teller's, birthday or Jean's birthday.
Mhm.
Oh, we went to Super Frico. Yeah, it's from the restaurant next door. So we went to
Yes.
yeah, but that was called yeah, it's in a little side room off of that, and the dancer, they stand up on the tables and everything. It's great. And the food
Yeah,
was really, really great.
so Super Frico, the restaurant, is excellent, and it has what's called super feats throughout the night. So there's technical acts that happen throughout the night. The Party is a smaller room. It's in what's
Right.
called the Blue Room, and that is there's appetizers and then some acts and then some dinner and some
Yeah,
acts
yeah,
and
that's
it
what we
all
did. Yeah,
great.
and
I
there
love
was
it.
yeah, it was really fun.
Yay.
You
Well,
you
good.
did you run that now?
I am resident director of the party right now. Yes. So
Wow,
I'm
wow.
helping.
Who
Yeah.
knew? I didn't
Nobody.
know. I would have dropped your name. Um,
I
but,
don't think it would have gotten you much further than the front door, but.
well, that's it. You know, now. So, and I mean, in addition to all these, how many shows are you doing a week with Absinthe?
So I work 5 nights a week at Absinthe, which is usually a total of 10 shows. But because I'm always on Friday or Saturday, Absinthe has 16 shows a week. It is 7 nights a week. And on Fridays and
Wow.
Saturdays, they have shows 7, 9, and 11. And those casts rotate. So one show on a Friday night, a cast will do the 7, and the other cast will do the 9 and the 11. And then they'll swap the following night. The other cast will do the 7 and the
Wow.
9 and 11.
Okay.
So that
All right.
so that nobody has to do 3 shows in a row, and not anybody is stuck with doing the dreaded 11 p.m. show all the time.
Right.
So that on those nights, that doesn't count as a 2-show night. So essentially it's 9 shows a week, and then, give or take a swing night in there. So anywhere from 7 to 10 shows a
Right.
week.
Right. And have you seen your children in the past 4 years? Um, no,
Yeah.
yeah, it's between Matt being out on ships and you doing all this, it's got to be an adventure.
It
Um,
is it
but
is, and it feels like they say that it happens so fast that your children grow up, and it really has. It's my oldest is 12, he'll be 13 in September, and I feel crazy about that.
right, right. Well, it's amazing. I still think that they're infants.
Yeah.
But well, anyways, well, let's. So I wanna ask a little bit about, well, I wanna ask a lot about everything, but one of the things I wanna talk about is, you did you come to all of this stuff here in Vegas through your dancing, stuff, or did you come through it through theater, or did you come through it through how did you wind up in Vegas? And you were with Jersey Boys, right? I mean, was that your
That's right.
first gig,
That's
or
right. So
you
I
come
was
here for that?
doing well, the crazy thing is that in my early 20s, I had auditioned for a show called Mamma Mia,
Mhm.
and that was my first time living and working in Las Vegas, and I
Okay.
was here for almost 2 years doing that show, and I had an amazing time, and I met friends that are still some of, my best friends, and then I moved back to New York thinking, "Well, that was fun. I'll never be back in Vegas again. I'll never
Mhm.
see this town again." And then about 10 years later, was cast in Jersey Boys. That was, the sit-down show that started at the Palazzo and then moved over to the Paris.
Mhm.
And, that was like, "Okay, I'll do that show for, like, 6 months." And then after the
Uh-huh.
6 months, I was like, "Okay, well, I'll just finish out the year contract." And then, my husband and I decided to get married, and then we said, "Okay, well, we'll stay for a little bit longer," and then
Mhm.
we decided to have a baby, so then we were like, "I think we're just writing this out."
Right.
So, Jersey Boys is what brought me to Vegas, and I ended up doing that show for 8 years here.
Wow. And so you were in New York. Did you go to New York after college? School? Did you go to acting school? What
Yeah,
did you
that's very
do?
sweet
Tell
of you
me.
to think I went to college. I'm just a big dummy who can count to 8
Yes.
multiple times. Um,
No, no, no.
I I went to, no, I went to, like, 2 years of a community college in Glendale,
Mhm.
California, where I was taking dance,
Mhm.
and, I had 0 interest in being there. In fact, I really ended up, just not going to class and taking dance.
Mhm.
And
No, no, that makes sense.
in fact, I was only taking dance and hadn't signed up for the 2nd semester, and before the class performance, the teacher was like, "Hey, you can't perform until you pay for this class." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So, yeah, so that happened. I got, my mom, cast me in a show that she was doing that was my first professional equity production contract, and she was choreographing, the musical Pippin,
Oh,
and that was a small which she had done, as Bob Fosse's dance captain years before.
okay.
So, it was all original choreography, and because I had been dancing in college, she was like, I think you could handle this." So, she
Mhm.
put me in that show, and that was like, "Wait a minute. Sorry, you're gonna pay me to travel and put me up in hotels and then do what I love at night? I'm
Right.
not going to school. I'm moving to New York. I'm gonna do this
Sure.
forever." So
Right.
that's kind of what happened was I finished that semester and was like, "Okay, I wanna move to New York and I just wanna hustle." So, I moved to New York and I convinced my cousin who was living out there to become my roommate and then, did the, not college, but, a lot of, like, regional productions and auditioning for things while waiting tables.
Right, right. Well, I mean, that's the path that, almost everyone has to take.
Yeah.
Uh, and, but you you mentioned your mom, so we can go back to, your grandmother, and of course we have to because, why wouldn't
Well, because you said Hollywood royalty, and they're gonna
yeah,
be like,
exactly.
"Ooh," and
Oh, oh,
nobody's gonna know.
oh, they come on, everybody knows Ruby Keeler. But, talk a little bit about your grandmother and your mom, and was your mom in the business your whole life? Is it you just grew up with this, or how did that happen?
Yeah, so, not to bore anybody too
You're
much,
not boring, this people
I'll
wanna hear this shit. Believe me,
well,
trust me on
okay. My grandmother is Ruby Keeler. She was most well known for her movie 42nd Street, where she played the lead role of Peggy Sawyer. And
Mhm.
that was one of many films she did for the incredible director Busby Berkeley, who
Right,
created the kaleidoscope effect in older movies with
right.
dancing girls. And so she had started, and they didn't necessarily call it tap dancing then, they called it hoofing, because there wasn't
Right.
actually taps on their shoes, you see it. They were heavy wooden shoes for quite a long time.
Oh,
So she was in movies back then and had done quite a few. She was married to Al Jolson,
right, right. Yeah.
and that wasn't a great marriage. So she divorced him, which was pretty wild for that time.
Radical, sure.
Yeah, it was pretty radical, that's right. And she ended up, marrying my grandfather, John Lowe,
Okay.
and then kind of stepped away from all Hollywood spotlight and had, 4 she they had her and Al Jolson had adopted a son, and then she had 4 children with my grandfather, and, when she was in her I wanna say 70s, I think she was early 70s when they brought her out of retirement to do the Broadway musical No No Nanette.
Wow.
And my father had come back from Vietnam and was, kind of unsure of what he was gonna do, and so she made sure that he was a stage manager. He had gotten a position on that show, so he
Okay.
became a stage manager on that show, and my mother was cast in the chorus of that show. So
Okay.
my mother had come up. Now on my mother's side, her folks were in vaudeville. So not her father was an old Navy guy, but my and the actual Navy, not the clothing store.
Right.
My
Ah,
not to be
I see what
confused.
you did there. Yeah, yeah.
But my grandmother on my mother's side and her 2 sisters were the Clark sisters, which were popular on in the vaudeville circuit and had a radio show. And, so my mom grew up in New York City dancing from the time she was very young, and she had done television and film and
Mhm.
lots of theater. So she had been cast in the chorus of this Broadway musical, No No Nanette. She tells really cool stories of my grandmother coming to rehearsal the first time and then watching her tap dance. And then
Right.
that's how my mom and my dad met. So it was a show called
And
No No Nanette. My dad was a stage manager. My mom was a chorus girl, and
and what year was that? It was, like, early '70s?
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Probably yeah, I think that was early 70s, maybe even late 60s? I'd have to look it up.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter, but I mean,
Yeah.
wow. So, now, did you get to, meet Ruby Keeler at all, or, was she around
Yes.
when you were a kid? Oh, that's
Yes.
good.
So my grandfather, John Lowe Sr.
Mhm.
had passed. I didn't get to meet him, but my grandma Ruby was around, and she had had a stroke by the time I
Mhm.
came around. So she didn't walk very well, and she always had a cane, but she would
Mhm.
always like shuffle one foot. And uh, I kind of grew up backstage. When I was first born, my mom was doing a show called Sugar Babies with Mickey
Oh,
Rooney and
yeah.
Aunt Miller,
Yeah. Yeah.
who were also very, famous movie stars from that older time period, and, I used to be able to be backstage because that was a different time, so I
Sure.
just was really backstage, and Ann Miller would come off stage, and I would run up and I would grab her leg, and she wouldn't know I was there for at least 4 steps before she would see me,
Sure.
and so I just kind of was like, "Oh, this is what I'm supposed to do." I didn't know anything
Right,
else, like, maybe
right,
if they were doctors or lawyers, I would be that, but I just
right, right, and
kind of
so it was
felt
in
it.
your life, and were you drawn to music at all at that time? Was that, like, were you aware of the music besides, counting to it?
I
Was that
loved the music. I
mhm,
loved musical theater. I think maybe it was because of the storytelling, aspect of it, but it was I mean, that is it's so silly, but, like, musical theater is my childhood. So,
right.
yes, there's Madonna. Yes,
Uh-huh.
there's, the I hesitate to say, like, George Michael, Boy George,
Sure.
like, all of
No,
the
no,
those
that's all the
but
stuff.
but musical theater was, like, my jam.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
If given a choice, I would listen to a Pippin, Evita. I would
Oh,
listen to a
that's a big
soundtrack
deal.
before I would listen to Tiffany.
Oh, oh, sure, well, yeah, I understand that, although Tiffany has her charms,
Tiffany does
but,
have her charms, and Debbie Gibson ended
Debbie
up doing
Gibson.
Broadway, so there you go.
Yeah, yeah, and my buddy, Dave Frangioni did all of the synth, he worked with Debbie Gibson very closely on her follow-up to Electric Youth.
Oh,
Um,
That's pretty cool.
But, that's easy, it's well, no, I mean, it's what you're describing is sort of my relationship to rock and roll. I mean, I knew all the AC/DC and the Zeppelin and the Leonard Skinner and and all that, but at the same time, I was going home listening to Oscar Peterson and Milt Jackson and Ray
Oh,
Brown, you know? I mean, that's
yeah.
stuff that spoke to me. So
Yeah.
yeah, but you went to community college, and you went to New York, and but you also did some TV stuff, right? I mean, you've done some acting.
Yeah, so well, and what's funny is growing up, my parents divorced when I was 8,
Mm,
and my mother started working at General Hospital, which was a television show,
right, sure,
very
yeah.
popular soap opera.
Oh, I never miss an episode.
I know
Um,
you were riveted
yeah, yeah.
by Luke and Laura's love story. Oh, but yeah. So there was at like 5, I think 5 years old. They would bring anybody. Basically, they had like at Christmas they would have a bunch of kids on for the Christmas episode. And so I started there and was like, "Oh, I kind of like this too. I like this acting thing." And so I would do episodes of General Hospital, and then, slowly but surely I started doing more of the soap opera circuit,
Uh-huh.
and I was doing a lot of different like, literally, if there was a soap opera on television at that time, I probably did it. I don't know
Wow.
how to explain the weirdness of doing under fives on different soaps. But anyway, I did that. I did some commercials. After I did Mamma Mia, when I moved back to New York, I started doing more like television film auditions. And
Mhm.
then I started a group called the Apple Sisters. I didn't start it. The three of us
Alright,
started that
we'll talk
together.
about the Apple Sisters because that fascinates me, but go
Yeah.
ahead.
But
Y
that's kind of where, like, more, different opportunities kind of arose,
Mhm.
my husband is just walked in the room.
Oh, he's still here? Oh, Jesus.
He
There he
just
is. Look, it's a cameo.
it's a
It
drive-by.
yeah, it's scary. That
Um
ship is moving very slowly. Um, but, well,
Yes, so that's when, like, we ended up doing, the movie Bridesmaids. We got to do that film
right.
together, and, I'll tell you what, we didn't make the cut, but we did make the DVD, extras,
Uh-huh.
and somehow that still gets us residuals.
No kidding.
So
Wow.
I'm not kidding, and it is
Wow.
the biggest residual check I get, in out of everything. And
No.
and as you're aware, I did I danced in the opening number of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, was a television show on CW
Right.
for a while.
Yeah.
Rachel Bloom starred, wrote, she did all of
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think she directed an episode. Her husband did, but she wrote and starred and produced, and she's incredible. So
Mhm.
she did the second season. She did a very Busby Berkeley opening number, and brought me in to do that. And so, I get residual checks from that, which is nice because
Oh,
that
good.
was every episode, but
Mhm.
not like Bridesmaids.
Wow, that's
Bridesmaids is
amazing.
the gift that keeps on giving.
Wow. Wow, that's great. I'll
I
I
know I'm bouncing around, Jonesy. Sorry about
I
that.
don't no, no, no. Yeah, I've made, many, 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 many mistakes in my life, and one of them was not being smart enough to register the theme song that I wrote for Penn's radio show in time, and I
Oh, what
lost
was
out on
it?
3 years, almost 3 years of residuals. I mean, I
Oh,
never got anything. I never made a cent from it, and,
was it "This is Person Day School"? That one?
huh?
No, that one is different. Which one was
No,
it?
no, 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 the
Oh, the
the instrumental
radio
for the
show.
CBS show, yeah, the CBS show.
Oh,
Imagine the
Jonesy.
money I missed out on that. I could retire. Um,
Well,
well, it was
probably.
on 70 some episode shows a day. It was on 70 stations a day, and I would have gotten paid every time it was played, and it went every commercial break. It would have been life-changing.
Well, we
But
live in New York, don't we?
I went I went to it like 5 years later, I'm like, "Well, you should have registered that," and there's like, "Oh, it's too late now." So,
Oh, okay. Well,
but that's
you know
alright.
what?
Sure, sure,
This
and,
is how we learn.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But I mean, no, and I'm not complaining, you know what I mean? It was fun to do it, and it's still my
Yeah.
ringtone.
And,
That's the most important thing. I use it as my ringtone.
I really do think, as much as I'm saying it's how we learn, they're all learning opportunities. If you didn't grow up knowing that that's what you're supposed to do, you don't find that out until sometimes you're like, oh, somebody helps you learn that.
Right,
You
right.
don't know that. It's like, oh, well, I guess. But you
Yeah,
also wrote an incredible song that played forever and that people still know and recognize, So
yeah. Not
you're,
as much as they recognize the Monkey Tuesday theme.
oh,
People still ask me for that, but
oh,
anyway,
yeah.
it's, sure. I don't wanna I'm jumping around a little bit because this is what this is. We're just shooting the shit.
Great.
Um, but,
Great.
um, but you've got to I mean, my my watching the Apple Sisters ranks as one of the high points in my life.
Oh, you're
I
being too good.
I I know, I mean, from a musician standpoint, it was one of the most avant-garde things I've ever seen. It was like the weirdest performance art that
It is.
I couldn't even process it. But
Yeah.
as entertainment, I laughed my ass off and loved it. And I mean, and we talked a little bit about it at the time. I was like, "It seems like you don't have any idea what you're doing musically." And you just said, "Yeah, we don't." And it was like it was so amazing. I mean, it's just great. It's so how did that all come about?
It is
It's
insane, and we were like, "Maybe we'll just sing that." Yeah, it does jump all over the place because 'cause we're like, um, eh, you know, restrictions be damned. We don't need guidelines.
no,
Um,
no,
we don't
harmony,
need
melody,
music
we don't need it.
theory.
Yeah.
We'll figure out the harmony. You sing this part, I'll sing this part. That sounds good. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's so ballsy, but it's also, really effective and fun. But how did that come about? How did you hook up with them, and how did this concept of, like, a demented Andrews Sisters, come about, you know?
Yeah. Well, the Apple Sisters is Rebecca Johnson, Kimmy Gatewood, and myself. And I was in New York City, and Kimmy and Rebecca were both instructors at the People's Improv Theater. And
Mhm.
Rebecca Johnson and my husband, Matt Donnelly, have been friends since college. And so they were
Okay.
doing an improv show together. I had come to see one of the first improv shows I ever saw of Matt Donnelly's. I walked in and it was him, this other gentleman, and this woman, Rebecca. And I was immediately jealous because I had never seen anyone so bold, so funny, so quick, and so powerful. I'd never
Mhm.
seen a woman like that, and she was so fast and so funny, and so I was immediately jealous. And then talked to her afterwards, and she had a boyfriend who's now her husband. But so I was like, okay, less of a threat to this guy that I have a crush on. But I still was jealous of all of her ability, and we became
Mhm.
fast friends. And then I had seen Kimmy perform, and she was also just a powerhouse, just really bold character. She would always do one woman shows that had these kind of outrageous characters. And one of them was, it was Dorothy being, "You're a bear," and everybody was a bear, and she had this very
Mhm.
1940s voice. And
Mhm.
so the the three of us kind of talked about doing a show together. And Rebecca really wanted singing and dancing, and Kimmy really wanted to do it in like this 40s radio style, and I was
Mhm.
just along for the ride. So my mom and her girlfriend, when they were in a show on Broadway together, I cannot remember who named them this, but one of the older broads was like, you two are so silly. I'm gonna call you the Apple Sisters. You're Cora and you're Ceedie." And so they had these shirts made. And so
Right.
they were the Apple Sisters, and they would always, thank each other in their bios.
Mhm.
And I stole the name. I
Okay.
just said, "Well, my mom had this group called the Apple Sisters. Do you want to do that?" So that's kind of how it all came about. We already had a Cora, we had a CD, and then Candy was easy.
Right.
So we named ourselves that, and then it just became us digging in and writing a new show every month for an entire year. And the show would revolve around whatever holiday it was. And in May, we did a maypole. We just would
Right,
make it up.
right.
And our songs would kind of like a musical, come out of like, hey, what if we just wrote, like, what if we talked about being May Queen? Like, that's where the song comes. I want to be May Queen. I'm going to be in the pageant.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then one of the other things that we loved doing was making sure that because it was a radio show, every episode was sponsored by, and we would make up ridiculous products
Sure.
like
Yeah.
like cornedy, which is, candy corn flavored candy. But it was just really us eating corn on the cob and saying it was candy corn
Okay. Uh, but
and
yeah,
getting
but
really messy. It just became like the first time we started doing it. It was like, how crazy and gross and weird and wild can we get while wearing pretty dresses and red lipstick?
right, right. And it's but what's amazing is it seems like when you're watching it that the 3 of you grew up together and had been doing this since you were, like, 6 years old. You know what I mean? There's that vibe
Yeah.
of, we know everything about each other, and she doesn't like grasshoppers, so I'm gonna get and you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just that, I'm reading too much into it probably, but it
No,
really
you're
I mean
not. It's very slumber party. It's very three girls growing up
yeah.
together and being sisters on a radio show and really just enjoying each other, but hating each other at the same time.
Ah. Well, the voices are great, but and so you started you were doing a show a month. Were you doing it at a space in New York, or where was this happening?
Yeah, we were at the People's Improv Theater in New York
Okay.
City, and
Mhm.
it's where I met my husband. And we started doing we started with just doing one show a month, and then
Mhm.
we realized, like, gosh, we're putting in a lot of work to just do one show. So then
Right.
we started doing it, like, I think it was like every Thursday for the month. We'd do
Mhm.
4 shows a month. We would do the same show. And we did really well. We started selling out and we got a lot of attention for it.
Mhm.
And then we got invited to the Montreal Comedy Festival,
Oh, wow.
and that's where the Just for Laughs Festival. So we went there and we had an incredible performance there. And Bob Odenkirk was directing all the sketches that season. So
Mhm.
he directed us, and that was really cool. And then we got agents and managers out of that. It's really like everything you think. It's like when people think about what Hollywood is like, or if you're going to hit it big, this and this and this happens. And it
Right.
kind of was that for us at that time. It was like,
Mhm.
if you get into the festival, you will get agents and managers, and then you will
Right.
go to Hollywood, and then they will get you jobs. And it kind of was that, where like we kind of kept getting a lot of things in those first few years.
Mhm.
And when we moved to California, just as we were moving to California, I got hired for Jersey Boys.
Okay.
So we had done Apple Sisters for over a year in New York, and then we all decided to move to California. And then I got hired for Jersey Boys. So I moved to Las Vegas, and the girls moved to California. And
Ah,
then but we kept shows going. So on my one day off, I would drive to California and we
right.
would do a show or a podcast
Right.
or an audition or whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we kept that going for a long time. And then we all started to have babies, and that became difficult
Right, right.
to
So
sustain.
so it wasn't that the interest went away. It wasn't like you faded away. It was just life got in the way that you couldn't keep it going.
It started to get
Yeah.
tricky once we all started having babies. And then both girls got hired there was a Netflix television show called Glow, which was the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. And that had, I
I
want to say it was
haven't
like,
seen that one, but
oh my
I'll
gosh,
I'll
Jonesy,
have
it's
to look
great. It's
it
great.
up.
It's Betty Gilpin and Allison Brie star in it, and it's a powerhouse ensemble of females
Okay.
that is a wrestling, an 80s
Sure.
throwback wrestling. It's Mark Maron, and it's great. And the girls
Okay.
were cast in it as part of the wrestling ensemble as a duo. They
Okay.
were the beat down biddies. They did this, like, these old ladies that came in and fought. And that was also part of it, was like their schedules. So, and that kind of happened just as Jersey Boys was finishing. So then it was like, okay, I might have some more time. They're like,
Ah,
we're filming.
right.
So then we would get a show in every couple of months, but it was really hard for us to sustain any kind of
Right. Sure, sure.
consistency.
Yeah.
And then,
Mhm.
then the world shut down.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then coming out of that, we've all Kimmy really took kind of a career turn and really dug in and started directing. And
Oh,
she's now directing. She just directed the entire season of Going Dutch, which is the Dennis Leary show.
Oh, wow.
And then she's directed many different television episodes, but she also directed the most recent Descendants, the Disney's Descendants film.
Oh.
And that's a big one in our household because Descendants is a big deal. So
Oh, okay.
um,
Alright.
so
Mhm.
we get if we get one show in a year, we feel pretty excited about that.
Right, right, right. Well,
Because
yeah,
now
but
it's more for us than it is for,
well,
any sort of claim to fame.
right. Well, it was in my top 10, live performance, viewings, which is saying a lot because 'cause I've seen a lot of stuff, but
That is
it
really
blew me
thank
away.
you.
It was
It is the thing I'm one of the things I am the most proud of outside of my children, of course.
well,
Um,
sure.
but being able to create our own thing without anybody telling us, and the time was great. It was a great time too.
Yeah.
Like, Obama was president, and we could, really comment on the ridiculousness of things that now feels like could really be used again. But it was great to just be like, there's a war going on. Food is being rationed. Buzz, buzz, buzz. So 1943,
Right, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Um,
yeah.
and, so, now, let's move into another aspect of your multifaceted,
Aren't
career.
you sick of
Um,
talking to me? Why don't we talk about
no,
you?
there's nothing to talk about with me. Everybody, you know how many of these things I've done? Um, but,
No.
a lot. It's getting good. We had, I had Leonard Slatkin, the conductor, on a couple weeks ago,
Oh, that's
and of
cool.
course, David Silverman from The Simpsons, and Bill
Yay, we
Prady
love
from The Big Bang Theory, and,
look at
you
you
know,
go.
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna be a podcast sensation. We were looking for a name for it, and I was thinking, the Joe Rogan Experience, but it was already taken. Um,
Yeah, yeah, it's
'Cause
weird that you would
that's
want that, but I
yeah, well,
understand.
it's popular. I think that a lot of people would listen. Uh, but,
Unfortunately, you're right.
yeah, yeah. No, we're having so much fun doing this. I mean, well, I'm having so much fun doing this. Jen's working her ass off
Yeah.
because, she's, like, editing these podcasts. We did this documentary that, it's just a lot of stuff, and the social media postings and all that, you have to schedule stuff, and,
I
you know,
know.
I'm an idiot. I play the piano and don't shut my mouth, so,
Well,
um, but,
it takes a lot of work, but it's also, when you're passionate about something, it's different than the way that we, understood it growing up. So it's just shifting gears and trying to.
completely. Yeah, I mean, you talk about the Hollywood thing of, doing a festival, getting an agent, going to Hollywood, getting I always thought, you get really good, then the record company signs you, and then they put you out on the road, and none of that exists anymore, you know?
Right.
Um,
Right. That's
and,
correct.
so you have to make a podcast and hope people listen to you. Um,
Yeah.
but, uh, but no, I wanted to talk a little bit about your fantastic, singing, because, you can sing in tune, unlike the Apple Sisters Adventures, where it's not out of tune, it's just atonal. Uh, but, when I first when you came and sat in with Penn's band, it was like, "Holy shit," this is a pro. I mean, you nailed everything right off the bat, and I mean, not to disparage anybody else that would have been doing that, you know what I mean? We had our little band together, and, and,
Well,
uh,
I'm gonna
you
jump
ca
in and say that you're being very kind. I was having a blast, and I loved being with you because you can play anything. You are
well
so good.
Um,
What
well, I mean,
again?
yeah, thanks. I mean, I was just doing what I do, but I mean, Penn says I wanna have a band to play at the Amazing Randy parties, and,
Right.
um, we'll get Lon, and you and Lon make it happen, you
Yeah.
know? And so we get Jimmy, and we get and I mean, it's like, I put together the whole book, he's like, "Well, I wanna do this song, I wanna do this song," and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, let me write it down." But then, you came in like, I've been around music a long, 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 long time, you know what I mean? I've been playing professionally since I was 14. I've been playing longer than Penn and Teller have been together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had my first gig before they worked together.
Yeah.
And when someone walks in and gets behind the microphone and starts singing, you can tell that they're good or they're a pro. And you did that and you just came in. And I mean, it's not, as I said, I'm not trying to disparage the any other singers that were working with the group. You just had that next level. You know what I mean? And it's you're like, "Oh, okay. This woman's serious. She
Well,
can fucking sing her ass off." You
that's
know?
very sweet.
And
I still call myself a perpetrator. It's like,
well,
I love rock. I love rock. That's where my
uh-huh.
voice is the most comfortable. So that was really fun. And you were so fun and so great and so easy to go over. And I would say, what are we singing? Because Penn will tell you to this day, he's like, I don't know what I'm singing. And he'll just pick notes out of the sky.
Yeah, yeah, well,
So
yeah. There's there's a we call Penn a song stylist. You know what I mean? Uh
yeah,
but yeah, but it's it really was it was so much fun doing that, and I
that was
often
so
think
much
that we
fun.
should, we should have a reunion band, for some we have to find some reason to put the band back together for a night or something because it
I
was
would
so
love
I
it.
mean, Jimmy is so, Jimmy.
Jimmy is so Jimmy, and Jimmy and I had done, we were doing Jersey Boys together, but I think he had even played at Mamma Mia.
He
Yes,
did.
Jimmy had
Yep.
played at Mamma Mia and had taught me how to play guitar because I had to learn how to play guitar for one of the songs in Mamma Mia. So
Ah,
I, and there's what I'm learning too when I work with kids is like, there really is something in certain kids that you can't teach, that is just an ability to want to perform, and there's no
right.
fear, and something lives in them where they're just natural gifted artists that want to, step out and sing. And then, there comes a period in life where a lot of that you just get scared, and there's you know ego comes into it, and your
Mhm.
hormones play a big part in it,
Uh-huh.
and then there's the point where you stop caring about
Right.
what other people think, and you just do it. And but Jimmy was at a time when I was very anxious about performing, but I also felt really great. And then to come all the way full circle to being in the band together and being able to
Mhm.
just like, do whatever we wanted in a way, like, was so fun. And it would be so great to get that band back together because it was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
It
Everybody was so incredibly talented and yet also willing to just do whatever. Penn was like, I want to do this thing. And we would all be like, yeah, great. Okay, let's do
Right.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I there aren't many people in the world that I would agree to sing, "Gimme 3 Steps" for. Um, well,
That's
everybody
right.
can sing something, and I mean, and it's like, well, what the, okay. I haven't sung since 1978, 1979 in a wedding band when I was
Yeah.
14, um, but, uh but it was, it was just fun, but again, you came in and you just nailed everything, and it
Well,
was
you're
it
sweet.
was also fun doing it, as you said, the experience of doing it, it was not a chore, you know what I mean?
No.
Sometimes you can get into these things and it's like, "Oh, what have I gotten myself into?" And,
Well, and
this was
I love it because also I'll be like, every now and then people will say, well, how do you know Penn? How do you? And it's like, oh, I was in his band.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
he had a
yeah,
band. I was like, "Yeah, Jonesy, me,
yeah,
we're fucking rock
yeah.
stars, baby."
Sure, sure, yeah, the crowd loved us. But, well, how many bands have played a command performance for, Richard Dawkins and you know, um, but,
Come on. It's
yeah,
pretty epic. Bacon and
um,
donuts party, which they
Bacon
don't
Donuts,
neither of those
yeah, that's
things.
also 2 things Penn won't eat anymore. Um,
Exactly.
but,
It's pretty wild.
yeah, but well, now, so what are you doing in Absinthe? I mean
Um, well, it's always a little hard to explain because there's, the when I first saw Absinthe, it was Voki and Anais were the creators of these characters, the Gazillionaire and Penny. And
right,
they're the Gazillionaire, in so many and the easiest way to say it is like, it's a big top, it's a circus, it's a tent, it's got
Right.
performers, and then Voki is the ringmaster, and then he has his assistant Penny.
Mhm.
And there's Rebecca Johnson, and then there's Anais Tomasian, who I saw that show and was like, that. How do I do that? Who is that
Uh-huh.
woman, and what does she eat? I want to, I want to wear her skin. And she I just was riveted by their performance. I wanted
Mhm.
to do that show. And then in the middle of the show, they also do this comedy circus act. So it's not necessarily a skills act, but it's supposed to be a parody of a skills act.
Right.
And coming out, and I had auditioned for the show twice and didn't get it. And then but I had become friends with the group, and I started. I also work for Atomic Saloon. That's the other
Okay.
show in town. I
Mhm.
swing over there for the character Boozy. So I had gotten that. I had started that, and that was very exciting. And I was doing this show called Pub Quiz Cabaret that Casey Wilson, who works for Absinthe, was putting together. So I got to know Voki and Anais a little bit better. And then coming out of pandemic, they were in need of somebody to do the comedy skills act in the middle
Mhm.
of the show, because the Casey Wilson, who was doing they had changed the character from Penny to Wanda after Anais left, and Casey was doing this character, and she had injured herself and couldn't do it. So they were
Okay.
hiring two of us to do this.
Mhm.
So essentially, my job is, and then also cover the Wanda track. So now my job is I do the comedy skills act in the middle of the show, 5 nights a week. And then 1 to 5 nights a week, I'll do the role of Wanda, which is originated by Anais and is
Right.
the Penny track. And it is, first of all, I have the best gig on the strip. I am certain of it, because doing the Silks Act is a 5-minute comedy act where you just get to roll with laughs.
Mhm.
And then after the second show, I get to go home because I don't bow.
Ah!
So I I work, it's a great gig. I'll just say
Right.
that. And then some nights I have to do the full track where I do the assistant and the Silks act in the middle of it,
Mhm.
which is also a great night, because our show is, there's loose script to it. So there's some parts that are kind of scripted, but for the most part,
Mhm.
we get to just kind of come out and roast the audience.
Right.
And it's really fun.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna argue with you and say I have the best gig on the strip, but that's just me. Um
Oh, well, sure. Actually, I take that back. There's your gig, and then my gig.
Yeah, yeah. It's people say to me all the time, it's like, "Well, you know, um, what's it like?" And I said, "Well, it's like I do whatever I want and get paid for it," you know?
Yeah,
I play the music I want with Penn before the show and have fun, and then
yeah.
I've written everything in the show, so I just, I do that, and it's been 20, almost 25 years now of doing whatever I want, and when they do a new bit and they say, "We want music for this," I say, "Well, I think you want this," and they say, "Yeah, that's perfect." You know? And it's
You're
I mean, it
right.
was it's not luck. I mean, my jingle writing skills come into play, but it being just but I mean, I have a feel for their personalities and what they want in the show and what they want to put in what they want to set up as a feel for a trick. You
Well,
know
and
what I
the
mean?
greatest thing,
And
Jonesy, is that the 2 of them have a language, right, that Matt has commented on before, that some people are lucky to know and some people don't know, that
right,
they are very, um, they're they're wonderful humans, but they communicate really well with each other and can say no easily, and find a way to get to where they want. And
right,
because you've been around with them for so long, you understand that language and speak that language as well.
right,
So there's this respect that goes 3 ways, especially when it comes to music with you, because you understand their piece so fully that you can watch an act that they are creating and know exactly what it
right,
means.
where
And
it's supposed
that's
to go. Yeah. No,
yeah.
it's true. And it is funny because when I was first with them back then, I went to a rehearsal, and it really was this shorthand between the 2 of them that was completely indecipherable. It was really like, "Well, if we do that, then oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, yeah, but if I could come in from the left, yeah, but then well, then we got that. Oh, yeah, well, that's not gonna happen. Well, we could"
Right.
and you're like, you're not saying words that make sense. You're just partially you're just saying, you're just
Yeah.
partially saying sentences that no one knows what you're but that's their code, and that's
Right.
they know Teller knows that if Penn moves his hand in that direction, something might get shown, and Penn's just saying, without bothering to say, and if I move my hand in this direction, Penn's just saying, "Well, if I do that," and tell her, "Yeah, well, you can't." It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it's very, very cool. But, it's yeah, and but I mean, I never for 1 second take my gig for granted, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
I love doing it, and I love being a part of it, and this past year, they started taking me on their road gigs, which I'm loving, you know what I mean? We went to London, we went to
Yeah.
Radio City, and we went and I mean, it's for me, it's just like, I'm not unloading the truck. It's like,
Yeah.
your first gigs of being on the road, you're gonna pay me to dance, you know what I mean? You're gonna fly
Yeah.
me in and put me up in a nice hotel room, and then I play for the show, and the rest of the time I'm around taking pictures and eating good food, you
Yeah.
know? It's like,
Well,
"Oh, I'll do
and
that."
and isn't that like, in that first job that I got, when I was like, "Wait, you're gonna pay me to you're gonna fly me there, you're gonna put me up, you're gonna pay me to do the thing that I love," and then it's like, I'm moving to New York, and then you go to New York, and you're like, "Oh, that's not what this is all the time?"
Yeah, exactly,
I
exactly.
really I
It's
really
not
had to
a
earn my
it
stripes. I
doesn't grow and
really
grow and grow until you're on the road with your own tour bus.
Yeah,
Um,
and, like, the Apple
yeah.
Sisters was all us just, building our own ridiculous props and cutting our teeth that way, but it was a blast so that you can then appreciate the fact that, like, now, like, you earned it, Jonesy, you get
Well,
to
yeah,
play
yeah, I mean,
PSA
yeah,
and get to go to
like,
the
it's a lot
it's
different
amazing.
than taking a bus to the gig in the '80s,
Right. Yeah,
but,
exactly.
yeah, well,
Exactly.
the glamour of showbiz, being on the Maynard Ferguson bus with, 30
But
other people.
but if you
Um,
hadn't taken that bus, you wouldn't be able to appreciate where you're
yeah,
at
yeah,
right
no,
now.
that's what I mean, it's like, all these people, it's like, you never hear yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say that I don't bitch about stupid stuff, occasionally, but I don't ever bitch about anything with any of that stuff. Like, Laura's like, "Oh my god, I got you on a flight," and it's like, "I don't care, whatever."
Yeah, great,
"Sure,
I'm on a
great."
flight.
I don't care, and it's just, and you get older, I mean, I like comfort, you know what I mean? But the
Certainly.
fact is, you just learn that that's what life is, you just try to make the best of everything, and don't get stressed out over the fact that, how am I gonna get to the airport? Just take an Uber. Who
Yeah,
cares? You
yeah,
know? Um,
yeah.
but anyhow, well, now, so you're working your ass off, and you're raising 2 kids, and you're raising Matt, which has gotta be horrible. Um, but, do you get any downtime, vacation time, anything to do that's there? Do you have any projects that you're doing on the side of of this?
I am currently working on something with 2 friends, that we're writing a musical, and that's really
Ah,
fun.
sure.
And then, yeah, we're I don't know when this will come out, but, we were supposed to go to Mexico in May, so that would be a family vacation. We'll see we'll
Ah.
see if
Oh,
we
yeah,
can
yeah.
yeah.
We'll see what the yeah.
But, it is hard to carve out time, but we do when we can, and when
Mhm,
Matt has some free time, we tend to go to Maryland once a year. My
mhm.
brother-in-law lives, on the Chesapeake, and we get to enjoy that a little bit.
Right,
When we can, we take the kids back to New York because that's where we met, and we love being there together and then introducing them to the things that brought us
right,
joy. So yeah, whenever we can see pockets of time, we try to grab them. But we
right.
also are, it's a good time for both of us in our careers. We're both kind of thriving right now, so we're
Mhm.
we're trying to take care of each other and our family and keep the balance going. And it
Right.
it is a constant juggle and discussion, but I'm very grateful because I have a really good partner, and he and I kind of really understand each other and use humor when we're pissed.
Does Matt know about him? Um,
I don't want to
d
disappoint Matt, so I'm
okay,
not gonna
alright.
talk about
No, Matt's wonderful. I mean, he's such a sweet, and again, the 2 of you, work more. I mean, it's exhausting just listening to the 2 of you describe what you do, you know what I mean? As an outsider. But, so is your mom still around? Do you get to see her
Yes.
often?
Yes.
Is she back in New York or is she in California?
My mom is still around. She is, I'm very grateful. We lost my dad a couple years ago,
Yeah, I
and,
knew that.
yeah, that's right, and then my mom is in California. She lives in Burbank, where my
Mhm.
brother and sister-in-law and their daughter, my niece, who's 4 years old,
Oh,
they all live there,
mhm,
and, so I get to see her because Burbank is not too far from here, and,
sure.
so I get to see her a lot, and she's still in good health, so she'll drive out here, and she'll come, and she helped me out last week because the boys were I needed some backup while Matt was away because
Uh-huh,
I just kinda started over at this new job and trying to get my bearings there,
right.
so she was really helpful with that, and while she was here, we took 2 tap classes, so she's still helping.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
great. And,
yeah.
well, I'm so glad that you carved out an hour to do this. This was so much fun, and I think everyone that's, listening to this, all I don't know how many people listen, hundreds now. Um,
At
I'm building
least
my
tens of
audience.
hundreds.
Yes, yes, dozens of people, should come to Las Vegas and go see you in Absinthe, and then every other show that I can't even remember all of them. Um, but,
Yeah, come to Vegas, come to Spiegelworld, see Absinthe, see Atomic Saloon, see the
yeah,
party.
yeah,
Go watch Mike Jones tear it up, and
yeah,
then if you
yeah,
get a
yeah, well,
second, Matt Donnelly is
well,
doing his show right now
yes,
at the Magician's Room, so just come to
yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
good
I mean, come to
time.
Vegas, chances are we'll get some money out of you. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
well,
Thanks for having me, Jonesy. It's so great
it's
to catch up with you because we usually
well,
only see each other in the monkey room for a half second.
yeah, I know for like, "Hey, how you doing?" "Good." "Oh, yeah, yeah, still have kids?" "Yeah."
Yeah.
Good. No, really, it's so much fun doing this and hearing all about this stuff, and you're doing okay, you remember that.
We're figuring it
Uh,
out, yeah.
yeah,
I'll look back at it at some point and go like, "Whoa, that was a lot,"
yeah,
but right now
Jesus.
it feels okay.
Good. Well, alright, well, thanks so much, Sarah, and thanks for coming on the Stereo Image.